I know people don't want to hear nothing about me. Just tell me who you are and what you do.
Well, first and foremost, my name is DeAnce Wyatt. I am an actor, producer, writer, and man, I've been a part of this industry for this year makes 25 years, man. Yeah, I started when I was a kid. Started acting
Yeah,
first. Yeah,
that's
and
cool.
it's been a great journey, man. Like to learn the business from a kid to teenager to adulthood, and then making a switch to work behind the scenes, uh, and which it's been great. I've been doing behind the scenes now 10 years, close to 10 years now. Just making that switch from being on the screen and off behind the scenes, and and still taking opportunities to act to this day. So it's,
Oh
it's been
yeah,
it's been a great.
we just worked in something, man. You showed me
We
that you
just
actually got some skills. I'm like, okay, he ain't just a suit. Oh boy, really
yeah.
got some range with him. Okay, that's what's
Hey,
up.
I still try to keep the chops going, man. I don't get to do it as often as I would love to, just because production keeps me super busy. But as it's so right now, I'm currently the social producer and talent executive here at Tyler Perry Studios, and everybody knows Mr. Perry works like a madman, so it keeps me busy.
Right, 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 right. So, you've been with him for a while. So you didn't just this is
Yeah,
not your first job for him.
this is not my first job within the company. I'm going into my 8th year
Hmm.
with being here. Honestly, I came in as an assistant. And I was an assistant to one of the producers by the name of Mark Swinton, who's been here for a while, and now he's the vice president and executive producer of original content development. So I've worked under the tutelage of him 8 years here, but actually I was an actor in a former life, and he was a playwright, and he's a director, playwright, writer, and producer. And I did his show many years ago when I was 16 years old. I did my first
Hmm.
play with him, not my first play, but with him at the age of 16, and that's where our relationship, kind of grew from that point. But I was an actor in that time, and we both made transitions in our life. I decided to go behind the scenes, and when I went back to school, I kind of let him know because he used to be a teacher, so he was a teacher, an acting teacher, and he made the switch. Well, he's actually doing it at the same time, but then blessings came, and he was able to kind of focus a little bit more on the industry versus being a teacher as well. And I let him know I was going back to school, and we kind of kept in contact in a way, God may see it, and he laid the pathway when he was looking for someone to fill a position. He reached out to me, and so that's when my journey at Tyler Perry Studios began.
Ashley Boyd, who's here doing our pitch camp, she's vice president of WeTV, vice president of development for WeTV and All Black, right?
Yeah,
She is saying the exact same things that you said. It's
yeah,
relationships. The
100%.
relationships is not what you know, it's who you know.
It's who you know. It's maximizing your network, man. Like this industry is full of your network. So many people get misled that, oh, you got to have this or got to have that. When you utilize what's in your back in your community, when you utilize what's in your phone, contacts in your phone, like that goes a long way. The beautiful thing about this industry is that some people come into it and not even know that they wanted to do it, but it kind of fell into their lap a little bit. Or some people take an interest to it, so they start to kind of do the independent thing. It's important to retain those relationships. I've worked with people in the past where they knew my work, and they had a project that they were doing. And that's like, yo, DeAnce, like I would love to use you for this, or hey, I got this project. And even when it was projects that wasn't maybe, I didn't make money from it or anything like that, but it's the passion that I have for
Mm.
the arts. It's the passion I have for the craft, and an opportunity to get in front of the camera. I'm all for it. I understand you got to get
Mm.
your money, but you got to understand your why. What's your reason for wanting to be a part of this industry? I mean, to be quite honest, you got to be crazy. You got to be crazy to want to do it.
Right, right,
I'm guilty. Like I'm crazy
right,
enough to like want to live this crazy life where
right.
we're in a business of rejection. We're in a business of no, 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 no,
Mm.
and that can really wear on people's mental, people's artistry. And so you got to know your why. I think that's very important to know what your reason is. And my reason was never about the money. It was never about the fame. Yes, I've had success. One of my major projects was the movie called Freedom Riders with Hilary Swank,
Oh yeah.
Patrick Dempsey, Imelda Staunton, the R&B singer Mario. Like, it was a long list of phenomenal artists that I already revered and loved their work, and I had the opportunity to work with them as I co-starred in the film. But even doing something like that, it was great. But there's a reality of this life where things go up and down. So you can be at the height, or you could be, and it can, even when you're there, you think you've made it, it'll be a pitfall, and you got to still sustain, and if you're in it for the right reasons, then you won't let that pitfall deter you from still fulfilling those bigger dreams you have.
Right.
I think that's why it's important to not only, try to maximize and expand your network, but to understand your why. If your why is in the right place, then I do believe uh, wholeheartedly that when it's your time, and there's nothing nobody
Right.
can do about it. I think it was, for me, I think it was maybe 8 years before I booked my first major movie. And I haven't auditioned for movies since the age of 11. I think I booked Freedom Riders when I was 19. And I have been grinding every day, like every year. I was doing 2 or 3 plays a year, just still trying to, hone in on those skills. Like, I also was a part of a conservatory, an acting school that was called Amazing Grace Conservatory, which is ran and operated by Wendy Raquel Robinson. Her and my godfather, the late Tracy Coley, they founded this school back in '96, and this school is still going today. And that
Right.
school, which is a conservatory that originally started out for just kids and teenagers, is now expanded to even toddlers and then adults. So
Oh,
they've
that's
now
right.
expanded. Yeah, like, I think maybe now it starts about 4 years old now. But when I was coming up, it was ages like 7 to 21. Now it's from 4 to whatever age,
Right.
they have adult classes and stuff like that. So coming up in that element was great. I think it's also important for any artists who say they want to act or direct, produce, whatever it is you want to do. You have to hone in on those skills. Like, you got to jump into classes, you got to jump into things to be able to exercise those natural skill sets and those talents that are God given.
Mm. So now you're in a position where you're not just acting, but you're hiring actors. You're
100%.
choosing. You're
Yes.
choosing who is put into this. And for the purposes of our meeting today, I'm trying to help our people learn the correct way to do it, because I'm quite sure you got some folks coming at you the wrong way. You know, they like, their dream is, I want to be on TV, and they think they can catch
Yeah,
you at McDonald's and do stuff, especially when they
100%.
find out about your position. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Very true.
So let's talk about a little etiquette. Let's talk about,
Okay.
because
Man,
you out
etiquette
with your
goes a long
family.
way. Yeah.
How first of all, tell me the craziest story you can think of, and then tell me how
Oh
we need to do
man. Oh boy. It's so many stories. I mean, I've had people come up to me in person. I've had people somehow send me letters, find me on social media, and just pour out all these things. And I'm like, hey, that is not the way to do it. Um, for those that have, for the few people that has recognized who I am as an actor, sometimes the conversation starts that way, and they ask, "Oh, what are you doing now?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, I work behind the scenes. I work. I'm a talent executive. I work in casting and this." And they're like, "Oh, wow. Well, hey, here goes this, and this." Now that's cool, but it's a time and a place for everything, right?
right.
Um, the there's a proper etiquette when you realize you're working with a real artist and professional. It's not even that they're not a real artist, but just a professional. On this status, on the status of being in this element, you want to not only be respectful, but it's okay to introduce yourself. It's okay to say, "Hey, I'm looking to work or do whatever." That's fine, but sometimes people can go a little bit overboard, and they want to, get your number and this, and that, and that's just not proper etiquette now. In some cases, like, hey, shoot me an email. If I feel like you're serious enough and you put in the work, then in some cases, I don't. I've shared my email before. I don't do it often, and the reason why I don't do it often because a lot of times when I start to ask questions for them coming up to me and say, "Hey, I want to act. I want to be in this movie. I want to be in this TV show," and I'm like, "Oh, what have you been doing? Do you have a headshot?
Mm.
Okay. Do you have your reel? And they're like, oh wait, a reel, what's that? Automatically, I know that you're not really trying to put in the work to really do this thing. And I noticed what I've experienced is a lot of people want the handout. And sure, somebody can give you a handout, but then that's their reputation on the line. And so if anybody, whether producer, whether casting director, whether casting associate, or anybody putting something together, if they take their craft serious, then they want to work with others who take their craft serious.
So speak on that. So they feel like there are no consequences if you get it wrong.
Right. Yeah. Now, say I say, all right, yeah, go ahead. Let me just put you in a movie, or let me put you in this TV show. And then they get up there and bomb. Everybody's gonna look at me like, DeAnce, what's going on? Like, why would you, like, this person's not ready. They're not ready to, if you're gonna be playing opposite of a Crystal Fox, a Tika Sumter, or you gotta be able to deliver in a scene. Like, these actors, they don't. This is their livelihood. They don't play about it. And everybody sees the glitz and glamour of what being on TV is, but they don't understand the work that it takes to get to those positions.
Right.
And even those type of actors are still working. They're still working on their craft. The Denzels, they're still working on their craft. Will Smith is still in classes taking, whether he's trying to perfect a dialogue.
Wait a minute now. Will Smith and Denzel, these guys are still taking acting classes. I'm speaking for the folk here who think they're just talented. They're just talented.
Man,
go ahead.
It's okay to be talented, but it's work that goes into it. The reason why they have the careers that they have is because they continue the work. If you listen to anything Denzel says, and even when has interviews or he's spoken to up and coming actors or people who say they want to act, the main thing to talk about is the work. Like, hey son, like, I see you got some more talent. You in classes? Oh, well, you gotta start there. And this is coming from somebody who's been in the industry for 30 plus years on our TV screens. Right. And he still understands, like, yo, I got to put in this work. I just went to New York not too long ago and saw Lawrence Fishburne in a play and was blown away. Like, this man is still out here working. A lot of people who do TV and film, sometimes they go back to the theater to really hone in on that live, that raw, that real, that it's like no other. You got to hit it and be on point the whole time in front of a live audience. Right. And he's on Broadway doing this. He's already been established. He's already done TV, movies, everywhere. And still understands, like, yo, like, I love this enough to go continue to do the work. A lot of things that people don't pay attention to as well is, yes, get into classes and, oh, I'm in a class. Okay. Have you recognized your weaknesses? Do you know what you're good at, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are? A lot of people say, oh, I'm funny, or, oh, I could do a dramatic role. Okay, cool. That's great. But do you understand the steps of bringing things to life that's not on the page? Like, so you have the black letters on the right page, but the most important work is all those blank spaces. Don't you find it interesting how you look at a script? It's not written like a novel, like a regular book or a letter. It's like the lines are like this, and there's all this white space around.
Right.
That's where the work is at. But you don't even understand that if you haven't even taken a class, you haven't put yourself in positions to get on stage or be in front of a camera. Like, people think they're ready for the big screen, but why would I take a chance on you when you haven't taken a chance on yourself?
That's powerful. That's the truth.
And that goes for any executive, any producer, any casting director. If you get an opportunity to meet these people, why would they take a chance on you if you haven't taken a chance on yourself? Meaning, doing the work. Meaning, you got your headshot together, you got your reel together, you're in classes, you're expanding your range. You're working on those things that, that may not be your strong suit. For me, I knew to get on my weaknesses many years ago. I learned this as a kid. It's like, okay, I'm good at improv. I'm good at trying to be physically funny. But what about the dramatic side? Like, am I able to portray this story about this kid who was abandoned by his mother and those are areas of life that you have to be able to tap into and tell that story. And sometimes, yeah, it can be written on a page and you can see like, oh, these are the words. But those same words can be told, you could almost tell the same story that those words are saying, we're just counting from 1 to 100. If the emotion is there, if you connected to the, and that's what people fail to realize is the importance of doing the work. The moments before, like where was this character before that? Because a lot of times you don't get that on a piece of paper. You don't get that in a script. It's understanding those depths. And I think the way that you can exercise that is not waiting on the big break, if that makes sense.
Okay, not waiting on the big break. So go a little deeper into that, because some people are like, well, look, if I can just get to you, I got it.
Then I'm out of made. And it's so much that goes into that because this industry is filled with when opportunity meets preparedness. If you're not prepared and the opportunity comes, then you just missed on the opportunity. That could have been your one opportunity in life. So if you're going to say, I'm an artist, I'm an actor, I'm a writer, I'm a creator, and you have nothing to show for it, I don't know you. So how can I vouch for you if I don't know you personally, I've never seen your work, you don't even have any work to present to me, I can't go, like how, so if the opportunity is if you see me in the street, and then not saying that, I mean, most actors that I talk to who are very hungry about this, they ride around in the cars with their business cards or their headshots or a barcode that to be scanned that you could just easily scan because it's so many ways. But understand, you got to go with your gut, number one, and you got to trust that if you're a professional, the way you present yourself will be completely different than you just running up to Spike Lee and
don't be desperate.
Exactly, because desperation scares professionals. Because desperation scares professionals because when you've done the work, you have no reason to be desperate because the work's gonna speak for itself.
Let me play devil's advocate for the people like from Mississippi, like, well, yo, we don't have production going on like you got in Atlanta. So when you say do this work, what kind of work can I do here in Mississippi that would count?
So what counts is literally, I'm sure in Mississippi that there's a theater, I'm sure somewhere. There's plays. I'm sure somebody has a camera. Everybody says they got stories and they got this. So again, building your network is somebody in your community has a camera. Somebody in your community knows how to write or wants to write. Somebody in your community wants to act. Somebody in your community wants to direct.
So you saying independent stuff counts?
Absolutely, it counts.
See, I got to get you to stay on that because that's what people don't believe. They don't believe the independent stuff works because if it's not big time, if it's not all this, then hey, the guy who's working at TV studios is not going to give me a chance.
Let me tell you this, for those who don't know, movies that we love were once independent films. For example, film festivals are so important. So important. So many projects that we see on the big screen has started at someone's film festival. The beauty of independent work and the beauty of people seeking out independent projects is that they're discovering gems. They're discovering stories or untold stories or stories that are not your normal stories that you just get in Hollywood or in New York or Chicago or Atlanta. Like, why do you think there's so many film festivals everywhere? Why do you think so many big time? There's a reason for it, but I mean, that is a great opportunity. So for the people of Mississippi, who now we have the JXN Film Festival, like, why not try to create a project to showcase at this? You never know who's going to be at that festival. I mean, you have artists. Let's see. There's a movie called Precious. That was at a film festival. That was an independent project. There's a movie called Moonlight that won awards. That was an independent project. Like, I can go on and on about independent projects that we have watched ourselves on the big screen. It started somewhere. It ain't just get to the big screen automatically.
Right.
A lot of, even you could go old school. Some of these things were shot as independents. John Singleton was notorious for shooting his own stuff.
Right.
you know,
Right.
and so much so in today's time with social media and content creators and all these different things, a lot more people are taking their careers in their hands. They're not waiting on somebody to have control of their careers. They're taking
There
control
you
of their
go.
careers because they're that serious about it. Independent projects not only builds your resume, it shows that you're doing the work. Like you're really like
So you're saying if I shoot this little monologue or this 2 scene thing with my boy, I can put that on my resume?
you can absolutely put that on your resume. And if it's not on your resume, because this is the mistake that people make, and they think that you gotta, so they ain't gonna lie. And when we see it, we're just like we're turned off. People put certain things on their resume, and then they say, "Oh, do you have a reel?" Yes, I have a reel. Here's my reel, and nothing on their reel matches what's on their resume.
Oh, gotcha.
So your resume looks like, oh wow, you've done this, and this, and like you're trying to like buffer your resume. And the thing is, people think that you got to have all these big credits to just only live on your resume. When I was building my resume, I had my school play, my play that I did at my acting school. I had the play I did in the city of Los Angeles. I had the independent film I did from a UCLA student. Because why? It was his project was in film festivals. Like you can go see it. Like it's tangible. Like so that it's
Right.
real. I'm not gonna put anything fake like, oh, I was in this movie and all I did was make an appearance. I just walked across the screen. Like
Right.
most people feel like they gotta put like, say like somebody they did a big project, but they were an extra. Not knocking that at all. Maybe that's your doorway in as well. But that's not something you want to add on your reel if you're telling me that you're a serious actor. Just because you was in a
Gotcha.
movie with Denzel and Denzel's in a scene with Will and you walk across the screen, that's not you being that. Why would you? That's not you're not showcasing your skills to me. Like I'm watching Denzel and Will
Right.
on screen.
Right.
So the importance of independent is also another avenue to build your visual resume. When we watch reels, we're looking for not only, of course, I'm not gonna lie, you want to see some projects on there, whatever, but there's never been a situation where they had their reel and it was 5 independent projects and they were just killing it. Like the character they played was like, oh my God. You question yourself, like, how have they not been in nothing yet? Then you're like, okay, you know what? We're gonna try
Right.
to find something for them. So it's not
Right.
about having the resume that only has shows from ABC and Fox and BET and that. If you've done 5 or 6 strong characters, even if you're shooting, there's a such thing that we were talking about it over. It's funny, I was talking about this over the weekend where you can almost record monologues if you want, or have a scene partner. Y'all come up with a nice scene, few pages long, and shoot it. Those are things you can add to your resume, to your reel.
We have
Like
actors in this festival who doing we accept monologues. Just monologues because we know they don't have a lot of opportunities. Say we'll take your monologue.
exactly. And that's an amazing opportunity because again, it's really about being able to show people your skill set. What do you bring to the table? What acting chops do you have? Like, are you able to pull people into your story? Like, if you're portraying a character, like, we want to feel you. Like, we get a lot of, you know, audition submissions in all the time. And so often, for me, I watch auditions weekly at this point. And I see so many great ones and I see so many that's like, yeah, they should
Give
probably.
me an example of a great audition. What's an example of a great audition?
A great audition is someone, I mean, from the moment that camera is on, they're in it. You feel like from the moment they open their mouth, you almost feel them. And they were connected, they were committed, they took risks, and they stood on it. And and they were able to, not that it's an issue, like it's not like we've never cast somebody who had a script in their hand, but when you get an actor who's off book, And you know that they know these lines. It doesn't even feel like lines. It feels like a conversation. Because some people are like, oh yeah, I know how to memorize lines, and yeah, cool, memorize the lines, that's great. But can you tell that story though? Like, are you thinking about? Can I see you thinking about the words? A great audition, like when I've watched great auditions, like I'm talking about sometimes from the moment the person comes on screen, I'm just like, ooh, okay, they have a look, or they have a demeanor about them, and it's like, wow. And then they're in the scene, I'm just like, oh my God, or ooh, or I'm laughing, or I'm in it because they're so connected into the story that it has me connected as a viewer. Right. Casting directors, we're an audience. We just like any artist, you want to feel, you want to see, you like, can you see this person in this space? So if I know what project we're working on,
you said something about take risks. What does that mean? Does it mean, because folks don't want to make mistakes? They don't want to make mistakes.
So this is, let me tell you like some do's and don'ts. One thing that most industry professionals hate is miming. People mime, or they pretend something's in their hand. Like that could be really annoying. So it's like, oh, Foreman, you're like this. Like, wait, what is this? That's your hand, sir. Like, that's not a phone.
That's an alpha sign, man.
You know what I'm saying? It's an alpha sign. But versus if you're going to make that choice, then make the choice but make it make sense though. A lot of times people take risks on things, and it just even doesn't make sense to the scene. So people say, oh, this is a mistake I saw recently. I was auditioning for a period piece, thing that takes place in the 90s. Somebody pulls this out. This iPhone. Apple wasn't doing these in 1992. This is a 1992 piece. But you have actors who decided like, oh, I'm gonna act like I'm on a phone. But if this piece is taking place in 1992, then there's no way you had that kind of cell phone. If you had a phone, it was probably gonna be about this big, a big block.
Right.
But it's like those kind of choices are like, that's again being connected to the story. Understand what's going on.
So what you're saying is, what impresses you is like, if I know I'm doing a 90s scene, I go out here and get one of these old phones that I do the research, and the research shows up in my audition.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, you don't have to do that. The acting is going to speak for yourself. You don't necessarily. There's casting directors who absolutely say, I don't want no props, 0 props, because they want to see what they don't want you to hide behind a prop.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Some people you can notice so many times that some people use that prop as a crutch because maybe they're not comfortable or they're nervous or whatever. Like, we see that.
Gotcha.
What you feel, we see. You feel you're nervous? We're gonna feel it too.
But isn't it natural to be nervous to come into an audition?
1000%. But it's also a thing that you learn as an actor if you're in classes, how to utilize that nervous energy. So it's okay to be nervous. I still get nervous a lot of times. But how do I channel it though? How do I channel that energy? That's where the professionalism comes in. That's just as much as if I get a phone call right now to say, yo, something just happened, blah, 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 but I'm on set and I got to do a scene. The professional side of me is going to have to cut that off, what I heard about my family member or whatever, and I got to show up and be present in this scene because, again, professionalism versus amateurism.
Gotcha.
Like the amateur is going to say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do the scene right now because I just got a call that my cousin got hurt, or in this business they're gonna say sorry for that, but we need you to come to set right now. We because time is money, money is time.
Yeah, well, like I was shooting a film, someone called me and said, well, look, man, they supposed to be having a party for my aunt this weekend. Can I film with you another weekend?
Right, but that tells you right there that person is not serious about their craft, because people are so hungry that like auntie gotta wait. If you're chasing your dream and this is my career and my auntie can't give me a job, and there's no way that if I'm hungry about this and I'm serious about what I'm doing in my career, there's no way, yo, family, if my family know how serious if I'm not there, they know it's a valid reason. I don't have to sugarcoat it. I don't have to make it up. I don't gotta tell some lie. It's like, yo, I'm filming this weekend. I have an independent project I'm filming with an amazing director. And you know what I'm saying? It's easy to tell when somebody's really about this and when that's just for play.
So what are the steps, man? What are the steps? Say somebody wants to say, I want to come work with you on set. I see y'all got some auditions out. What's the steps?
I would tell you this, and I've actually put this out not too long ago. There's no secret to auditioning for Tyler Perry Studios. It is no secret. We utilize a website called Actors Access. When we send out breakdowns for our series regulars, our recurring, our day players, we release breakdowns on Actors Access. The steps are create an account, upload your resume, upload your reel, some headshots, and you can literally yourself research projects. So many people think that, oh, I gotta have an agent. I gotta have an agent, and I can't work unless I got an agent. That's give or take. In this day and age, you're gonna wait or to pursue your dream to give somebody else 10 to 15% of your money. And all they're doing is what you can do yourself. It's no secret. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to sit in front of the computer. They're going to sit on Actors Access, and they're going to go through the breakdowns that are listed there. And then they're going to be like, oh, Max will be good for this. I'm gonna submit Max for this, right? Then, oh wait, did I lose you? We're going to pause, ladies and gentlemen. I think I lost Maximus. I want to stand by and finish my thought as soon as he joins us. Got you. I paused for a second until we got you back.
Man, listen, bro, my phone call, somebody calling, and I'm trying to end it, man. I am so sorry about that, bro.
Oh no, you
so
good.
Sorry.
I paused for a little bit. I was like, wait, I think he done got a call.
Yeah, man, the call knocked me out, man. That's why I wanted to do it at home, but here folks have been trying. They're calling about their screenings, but you were talking about Actors Access, about having
right. So
agent. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I was saying
to that was, hold on, let me reconnect. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, cool. I just lost my audio for a second. So what I was saying about that is that you don't have to wait for an agent to do what you can do, right? Because all you're doing is basically paying them to do what you can do. Right. Back in the day when I was coming up, you absolutely had to have an agent. You wouldn't get no auditions at all unless you're the agent. And today's everything is via the web, internet. That's how we do our casting. For us, we do our breakdowns. You send a request to submit a self-tape. Somebody will respond. You submit your self-tape, upload it, send it back. The casting team will look at, they view hundreds and hundreds of auditions every day.
So real life, because there's somebody here like, man, I can't believe it's that easy. I just can't believe you got to know something. So now you're telling me that your job right here, where you're casting all these folks, and oh, by the way, I was with John Snyder the other weekend.
Oh, word.
Yeah, I threw your name out there, man.
Yeah.
I just threw your name out there. I was actually working on a project with him and Marcus and
Nice.
Creek. But
Oh, nice.
these folks literally can come through Access Access, and if you they can literally get on just through Access Access.
In the since right before the pandemic, and definitely during the pandemic, I saw the last 2.5, 3 years, we have exclusively casted from Access Access.
Wow.
Literally.
No. I had a friend girl say, she wants to be a casting director. She said specifically, when I asked you, what are the steps you need to go through to become a credentialed casting director?
Now, those steps, I don't know every single step. I know it's about building a pool. So just speaking from a friend of mine who I know, he started with doing extras casting, right? So that was his lane. Sometimes in the industry, this one way is not the only way, right? So for this particular person, he started with a very small group. He got his friends to kind of be his people to kind of reach out to say, hey, we're a new casting thing where we cast extras and background stuff for TV, film, music videos, And so then, he gets, I think he started with an independent project. Here we go back to project.
Right.
And fast forward, someone that worked with him and loved the work that he put in, like he treated just as serious as it was a major studio project.
Right.
They landed an opportunity at a space where a company or a studio or production company were looking for, we lost our casting. We need somebody in extra casting. Who they call? The person that cast their independent film.
Right.
Boom, gave him an opportunity. So the opportunity presented itself. And of course, like as always, he killed it. And then his thing just started to expand. He started to spread the word, had people put the word out like, hey, if you're seeking this, you want to try to be an extra, email this thing, email this and that. And so he started to build his database. Because you gotta have relationships, you gotta know people. And then you gotta be able to, so again, you can start as a customer, you gotta start with it's basically
what you're saying about acting. It's really literally building those relationships.
Literally. Everything is relationship based. Like, I mean, I put it to you like this. As an actor, I've booked way more gigs from people that I knew versus my agent sending me out on that particular audition.
Wow. I heard Samuel Jackson say this the other day and it blew me away. He said that his wife used to ask him, well, why are you taking this job and taking that job? He said, because I see that guy's going to be a brilliant director one day.
Exactly.
Or I'm getting with that writer because I know that writer. He said he's literally gotten jobs from PAs. They started out, they were PAs, and then 5 years from now, they calling shots. And they're like, look, I had to bring you on. Now, this is what I'm hearing Samuel Jackson say.
And he is telling you nothing but truth. I mean, you got to think about, let's even backtrack. Think about the era of when he was a student at Morehouse College with him, Spike Lee. You do understand that everybody that was in school days was a student at Morehouse or a student at Clark.
Wow.
Or Morris Brown, or they hired, or Spelman, they hired within their network.
Right.
Other students who were actors and did this. Prime example, Miss Cassie Davis Patton. She plays Aunt Ella on House of Pain. She plays Bam in all the Tyler Perry plays and movies. She was in school days.
School days. She sure was.
She was a student at Spelman.
Wow.
You feel what I'm saying? Like this, they got that movie off the ground and also started independent. But what did he use?
Right.
He didn't have access to the major stars and stuff. He utilized people that was there. It just so happened to be those people were people like Samuel Jackson, Lawrence Fishburne.
But they weren't Samuel Lawrence Fishburne then. They were just his friends.
They was just friends. They were friends who were interested in this world. Who was like, "Yo, you got what, Spike? You got that? Oh, okay, yeah, I'm in it. Let's do it. Let's do this." They believed in the visionary. Like, again, it wasn't like they didn't make millions from that movie. It wasn't about, oh, let me get to the big dollars. It was about telling a story. They loved the story and decided, like, yes, let's get together and do this. Samuel Jackson and Spike Lee came up to. I was a student. I'm an alumni of Clarkland University, and so I've been over in these different symposiums and panel discussions when they come and talk to aspiring film producers and directors and writers and stuff like that, and their stories are, it's crazy that they were doing things back then that people are still doing today, which is building their own, not waiting on this person to validate them to say, oh, this is good or this is not good. I mean, that's them back in the day. You can move it to current times and look at somebody like a Country Wayne.
Right.
Country Wayne, he does stand up, he's acting, he's built his whole domain. Excuse me.
That's fine.
He's built his whole domain on creating his own. Like, he's created stuff for not only himself, but his peers, his kids, utilizing his circle.
Right.
Now he's expanded, and now he's on tour. He's doing his stand-up. He's selling out shows here and there. He's doing content creation over here, getting money from advertisers over here. He's in movies. He's in TV shows. He's filming stuff. He got stuff coming up more. Like, he is a new age to me, a new age Spike Lee, new age Tyler Perry, like creating your own. I mean, look who the man I work for. He created his own.
Right.
Hollywood was like, no, we're good.
Right.
And he said, okay, I'll do my own thing then. Now look where.
So where we now, because of him, we meet DeAnce Wyatt.
You know what I'm saying? And not only has he not only built his own, but now he's creating opportunities and jobs and things for actors, writers, producers, crew, PAs, grips, lighting, electric, casting, like every in Atlanta.
Right.
When Hollywood said he wasn't gonna be able to do it.
Right. Well, you're gonna come over here to Mississippi and help me do it over here in Mississippi.
Right. Yeah, I got a couple of friends down there who's doing their thing. A friend of mine, Essence, Essence Wyatt. She's an amazing. She came through the Tyler Perry camp as well. Started out. She was around when I first started too, and she's doing her thing. I think she understood the mantra of what this is, and it's like, okay, cool. Like, I'm gonna do my own thing too. And I think she's out there actually, Mississippi now. That's where she's from. I think she moved back. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, maybe we need to connect with her because like I said, we're doing our thing here, and I would love for you to come over next year, man, and be one of our presenters if you got time. If you got time, because no telling what you got.
Like, I mean, for real, it's let me know. We'll see what we can work out. If I could squeeze over there and come down and be in person, like I'm all for it.
Man, I appreciate that. One last word, man. What's the one burning thing, from being a casting director and seeing these folks, what's the one last thing you want to leave on there?
What I would say is trust yourself. Be you. Be authentically you. One of the first things I learned as an actor, and I was 10 years old, turned 11, the first thing or quote that I learned was, to thine own self be true. Don't come into an audition thinking I have to be somebody else. I don't need to be Michael B. Jordan. I don't need to be Samuel. I don't need to be Will Smith. I'm going to be DeAnce Wyatt. I'm going to give you the best version of myself. We hire you. We're not hiring somebody who acts or looks like a Michael B. Jordan or acts and look like a Christian Bale or whoever, like, trust who you are. Trust the work that you put into yourself and what you bring to this character. So many times, like, and it's not, you don't see it too many times in this day because there's so many self-tapes, but growing up, I would go into an audition and you have Michael B. Jordan, Robert Richard, you have all these people who have you recognize from TV, and I'm sitting next to them and I'm like, you can cycle yourself out like, oh man, they got them in here? Like, oh.
Right. I ain't got a chance.
I ain't got a chance.
Right.
You got to destroy all those insecurities and trust who you are. Be authentically you. If I could say that to any and every actor watching, thinking, be you authentically. Trust the work you put into the audition or the character or the script or the sides. Make strong choices and live and die with it. The other thing I would say is when you're auditioning, once that audition is done, let it go. If that call comes, then that call comes. If it doesn't, then it's on to the next.
Right.
Never get discouraged because you didn't get a call or, oh, you thought you did so good. And because what a lot of people fail to realize with this acting stuff is the mental side of it. Again, this is the industry of rejection. This is the industry of which you would question yourself so many times based off someone else's validation. If you truly believe in your dream, if you're going to say that you dream to be and I want to be, and you truly believe in that, you're not going to let that discourage you. But it takes work, though. It takes mental work. You got to be okay with yourself. You have to know that you are enough. Before you try to take on a character and try to embody that, you have to trust that, yo, the best version of Max is going to show in this character. Because so many times as casting directors, you never know what, sometimes you have an idea what you're looking for, but then somebody just comes in and just like, oh, wow, I didn't even think about it that way. The way they played that, I didn't think that that's what I was looking for. But that person was so committed to that choice, to that dynamic, that it's like, hey, I know we said we was looking at this, but you got to watch this. And you can almost change the minds of producers. You can change the minds of these directors. You can change the minds of these writers. Because, you know, we as creators ourselves, we go into it thinking one thing, and you have an idea what you're looking for. And then sometimes somebody will come in who you weren't even thinking about or thought that they would do, and you're blown away. And it's like, it's a no-brainer. So that goes back to say, so I'll leave it with trust yourself and leave it in the room. Give it your all. A nugget that I would give for people who are doing self-tapes and things of that nature, send 2 different takes.
Cool.
Send 2 different takes. Now, again, the etiquette, don't send 10 different takes. Because if I
Send 2 different takes.
give me 2 different takes. Like, and that's in general across the board. It's not just for me personally, but just understanding other professionals in this lane is, if we got to watch hundreds of auditions, like I don't have time to watch 10 different takes. So even if you do 10 takes, choose your best 2. If you're going to do 1 take like this, then let us see something different on the other take, you know. And again, make your own choices, because we can see if you're playing or if you're not really connected, or if you're, you know, you can tell very easily. So those are some tips, some little tips that can help when you submit self-tapes, because you don't have the what I missed, which is being in the room. You don't have the ability to ask the director or ask the casting director or the producer, like, hey, I was thinking about it like this. Is that what you meant by when you wrote this? Or you don't have that autonomy. So what do? You say you go off what you think it could be and what it is, and if you submit 2 different sides of it, then that kind of, it can lend to so many different things. It can lend to showing range. It can lend to, oh, I didn't like that take, but I did love this take. You know, it gives the casting team more to work with. Even if, like, I've just watched auditions and it was like one-liners, and there was a guy who did 2 different variations, and I was like, that was really good. I like his second take though. It was just 1 or 2 lines, but we auditioned those roles. So every line is important. I don't care if it's 1 line and you saying, hey, you got to sell it. You know, I got to feel that, you know. You know, so that's the nugget that I'll leave everyone with is trust yourself. After you're done with the audition, let it go. Move on to the next. And then when you are submitting auditions and self-tapes, at least give a minimum of 2 tapes and no more than 3, please. Also, else, I got one more thing that I just discovered recently that is another don't. Sometimes, and I'll give you this story. We recently did auditions for a new pilot show, and sometimes you can see the names attached to the breakdown. So they saw who the writer was, who the director was, and did this. A don't is after you audition or you submit audition, don't go DMing the writer or the director saying, "Hey, I just auditioned for your project," and that's a no-no.
Big no-no.
Big no-no. And I'll put it to you this way. There was a guy who's actually like, he's on TV. Like he's not like a big star yet, but he's working. He's made that mistake. And he was one of our top 2 choices. Could have been our number 1 choice, but he started sending DMs like multiple times, almost like feeling like, wow, you're harassing the writer at this point. Like, and the writer was nice enough to respond the first time. They didn't even have to respond, but they was nice enough to respond the first time. And then you kept, and automatically that moved you off the list. This is somebody who was up for the role.
Wow.
Based off etiquette, based off, like that's another don't is, again, if you come across somebody, you see that person in the street or whatever, you don't run up to them saying, hey, it's me, I auditioned for your thing. This is so unprofessional. And then the day of social media, everybody's accessible. So you feel like, oh, I can just go slide in their DM because I can find their Instagram page or their Facebook page and go, that's another don't, because it rubs people the wrong way.
Wow. Man, you dropped some jewels, man. You dropped some real jewels, bro. I really, really, really appreciate it. But just so I can show my focal back here, how good of a director was it, man? Oh
man. Hey, Max is a bad dude. I've worked with many directors in this industry from the age of 11 to I just turned 36 last week. I had a wonderful time on set with you. I thank you. Thank you for trusting, leading, and directing that. Y'all better stop playing with Max. If he got a project, you better jump in it because he got some work and he knows what he's doing. And I love how he's able to drive things out of you. Even again, you could come in thinking about a character one way, and he's gonna say, "Hey, let me hear it. Let me hear you do it. Let's run the scene." And then now you're watching his magic work. You're watching him thinking. You're watching how he's gonna cover and get the shot, the angles based off kind of what you bring. So I mean, I think you are a great director, man. Then you got a long career coming, and just keep doing what you're doing, man, for real.
Hey man, I appreciate that. I'm gonna send you that check too, because that almost came like it was real. Like we didn't rehearse that before we got on.
Man, hey, it was. I gotta say, I really had a good time on that set. I think it was, again, it was an independent project. It was ran very professionally. Even when hiccups were coming and things were moving, everybody kept a cool head, was moving, trying to figure it out and to get the job done. And that's the most important thing, is getting it in the can. And I think you got it in the can with all the things that kind of just came your way, all the obstacles, and you made it do what it do. You made it look good. I did try to sneak and look at some of the shots and stuff like that. I'm just like, oh yeah, good. So yeah,
well, we hopefully we're gonna have this up, man. We sent Palmer rough, just to kind of get him going, but I had all this stuff leading up, so I haven't been able to get on it. But I want to thank you, man, because you helped me out one day. That day you was there. Energy was low, man. Energy was low. I had done all my tricks, and I'm like, yo, bro.
Yeah.
I need you to raise this energy, because they tired. And man, you delivered, man, and I appreciate that. That took some weight off my shoulders for that scene.
Hey, 100%. So, man, I believe that's my job. Every actor should know your job is to please the director. Period. Period.
But bro, look,
no questions asked. Period.
Hey man, you've done a lot for my folk. I know they're gonna have a bunch of questions.
Cool.
I hope we can hook back up sometime soon to kind of do a follow up.
Okay.
Real talk, man. I really want you to come on Mississippi, man, and do some stuff over here, man.
Okay.
Get some acting in, come on, saying, because I still think you got some more miles in you. I know you're big time executive now, but I can feel that passion for acting in you. So we're gonna try to see if we can get some stuff to pull it on out of you over here, man.
All right, man. Hey, I do. I can't lie. That bug is still there.
Yeah, so, I can tell. I can feel it.
We got to figure it out.
Hey, look, we're gonna get up. For real.
Sure.
All right, man. Thank you so much, man. I'll be in contact with you soon, bro.
You got it, man. Thank you. Blessings.
All right.